Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Ask Sue Show, the place that gives a voice to the voiceless, and a place where you can rant in your pants. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show with Ask Sue.
Hi, and welcome to the Ask Sue Show. Hope everybody is all well. And I can honestly say there's some of them that we are really, looking forward to. But I can honestly say tonight we're excited to have these lovely people on the show tonight. And, of course, we have got our lovely Lisa Barretta on the show tonight. So, hi, Lisa. How are you doing?
Hi, Sue. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, I wouldn't have you anywhere else. How's it going? What sort of week have you had?
So far, so good. The guys hate a little bit with the Mercury retrograde, some confusion with some things, but I think I have everything sorted out now, I hope.
Well, I'm going to have my first public warning to people, right? Because I actually do inspections of properties for a landlady. And I've gone in and go to quite a few different ones. And I'm always the one who's like the risk assessor and everybody. And I'm always saying, you shouldn't have that many plugs in the electrical socket or whatever, do you know what I mean? Anyway, the other night, I'd gone to bed. It must have been ridiculous o'clock, like 2:30 in the morning, as you do. And anyway, my other half doesn't wake up in the night at all for nothing. Anyway, all I heard was him jump out of bed, and he's running down the stairs, and I'm thinking, my goodness, if he wants to go downstairs to have a cigarette or something, that must be pretty keen, but, you know, never thought much of it. He come back upstairs. He said, can't you smell that? And I went, smell what? And apparently our dryer had actually gone up in smoke. The clothes had burnt in the actual dryer. The electric had tripped and everything. Now, I'm one of these. I'm very grateful, and I touch wood as I say that, you know, we were okay. Okay, my clothes got burnt, but we're all well and we're all fine, and I'm grateful. Because then I can remember years ago, Malcolm had a house fire, and I know what that was like, and I'm just like grateful. Whoever's watching me from up there, I can't thank them enough. So anybody who is about to put their dryer on before they go to bed tonight, just don't. Put them hang up somewhere or something. So I don't know if that was a retrograde thing or it was just me saying I need a new dryer.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously, we're talking about your book tonight, Conscious Ink. And obviously, we've got a couple of friends and guests of yours coming on to the show. And I tell you what, I can honestly say I'm excited to speak to them because I obviously have got I'm a bit of a tattoo girl, and I've said to you I'm going to end up having my own tattoo done, and I'm going to see if you want to put some designs together and maybe do a Facebook Live of me having the design done, maybe.
I look forward to that. I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to do it.
Oh, yes. And obviously it will be #Conscious Ink, obviously.
Thank you.
So, right, shall we fetch our lovely guest on?
Yes, absolutely.
Hi,
He's
Damon.
amazing.
Hi, are you with us?
I certainly am, too.
Oh, hi, Damon. How are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, your line's a bit crackly, Damon.
Oh, is it?
I think it's you. We'll find out as the show goes on.
How is my voice? Is my voice nice and clear other than that, or is it?
You sound a bit quite far away from the phone.
Okay, how about that?
Oh, no, that's stopped now. Whatever you've just done, perfect. Keep still.
Oh, okay.
You'll get used to the banter on here, Damon, eventually. Damon, tell us about yourself.
Well, I was born in Dunstable. Came over to Canada when I was 4. We sailed over in a big ship, actually, and I just had a long journey of growing up to realize I was very drawn toward anything creative, and then eventually went to art college, and somewhere in between that, just before art college, I went on a government-sponsored community sort of student awareness experience event called the Kitimavik. And during that time, I got a tattoo. I was exposed to the experience of a tattoo. And at that moment, right after that first tattoo, I was going back to my place in a cab, and I just knew something had happened to me and something was different. And that was what sparked my interest and my pursuit of the tattoo experience, and kind of an offshoot from sort of general contemporary approach to tattooing, for most people anyways, was this interest in what is the potential in the tattoo experience, and then researching that into history. Indigenous cultures throughout the past and the present have always seemed to practice tattooing as more of a medicinal or moving towards wholeness, some kind of a spiritual experience. And that's what's always interested me. And then even in my art as well, I found that anything that involves any way that I can move people in their experience closer towards healing in some way, moving towards that wholeness, that I really believe is inherent in the tattoo experience. It's just like the book of Lisa says, if it's conscious, I believe it's awakened. There's something that invoked that's bringing something awake that otherwise was asleep, but was there anyways, and that's what my pursuit has been.
Yeah. So how did you get involved with Lisa, or which one of you'd like to explain how you two got involved together?
Well, that was amazing. You know, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives, and Damon arrived. It was the middle of the night, probably somewhere between 2 and 3 in the morning, and I was working on the book, and I really knew what I wanted, but I couldn't find any information on it, because when you Google tattoos on the internet, you will get pictures, and that's and Pinterest and Instagram. But I needed to talk to a tattooist who really, really knew that it was woven into your cellular memory, your consciousness, and the healing properties of it. And I found Damon's name, and I sent him a message. I said, I'd like to talk to you about a book that I'm writing. And I believe it was about a week later, Damon got in contact with me. We talked for a while, and it was that eureka moment. After that brief conversation, I was like, wow, it just helped me move forward with the book. He contributed so much to the book. I got an education. I learned so much, and I really feel that knowing Damon really helped me polish up my idea and get that book together as quickly as I did. And I actually went out and I got a few more tattoos just because I know Damon. I only had one tattoo before I wrote the book, and it was an old tattoo.
Really? Oh, that's fascinating. So have you two actually met as yet?
No.
Not yet, but I think we're going to. I think we should.
Oh,
we're not that far.
We're going to have to... I tell you what, I think I want to do like this big massive meetup, because do you know what, the amount of people that we talk to on Facebook, do you know what I mean? And I know that, and I'm hoping there's loads of people, other tattooists and people that's interested in your book and everything's listening to the show tonight, because we've messaged quite a few. And I tell you what, I've actually had my eyes literally wakened up, if you like, because some of these tattoos are absolutely fascinating. They're amazing to look at, and I'm sure I know we've had some pictures sent through, and we'll go through them. But is there some, Damon, that you've looked and thought, I really don't know if that should be what you should have? Is there any that you've advised not to do?
Well, Sue, really, ultimately, I advise people not to do something that does not feel right in their heart. So, and that could be something that looks even pretty to someone else, but just isn't right. But there are definitely certain images and symbols and things that just don't go with a positive flow. And those would be all the obvious ones that you could think of, like the swastikas and I know, upside down crucifixes and things like that. And people also, it doesn't even matter if a symbol is negative or positive in that sense. You also have to think about what kind of confrontation is it going to encourage in your life. So even someone who might feel that, well, the swastika was originally, before it was fused, was from a culture in India, and it's a very positive symbol. You have to be a pretty powerful person to wear that symbol if that's your intention. So it's not just whether it's a positive or negative symbol, it's what is that going to bring about in your life, what kind of questions are you going to get asked, and is it really for you? Is it, when you consider the idea, does it move you inside? Does it pull at your spirit and your soul?
See, that's amazing. So, Lisa, what have you had done recently? Because you've just said you've had recent tattoos done. What did you have done?
Well, on my arm, I have what it is. There are a lot of alchemy symbols that are very personal to me. And I looked at my astrology chart, and what I did with my chart, instead of just splashing a chart on my arm, I wanted to reduce it down to the planets where I feel I draw my strength. And I also wanted to, wear the alchemy symbols that related to those planets. This way I figure I'm going to try to work with the best in my chart, the things that sometimes I get in my own way, and I forget that I have this in my celestial DNA. So I wanted to embody the symbol, and that's what it was to me. When I got the tattoo, it wasn't for the mere purpose of having a tattoo and a picture. I realized that when you have a tattoo, you're embodying that symbol. This is going into your consciousness. It's going into your cellular memory. The same way that Dr. Ian Stevenson said birthmarks are a sign of past life. So I thought, is this tattoo, what's it going to do for me? Is this something I'm adding into my consciousness, or is it something that's already there that needs to be enhanced and brought out and recognized? And I sat with it. It's a little bit of both. And after I had that tattoo, I felt different. Actually, people told me I was nicer. I didn't think I was mean before, but that tattoo made me nicer. And then my tattooist, Nick, who you also have invited on the show, he put a fern on my wrist. We just looked at each other, and I said, I'm feeling something else. And he said, yeah. And we kind of resonated, and he put a simple fern on my wrist. And at the time, I didn't have the meaning for fern in my book. I forgot that one. If I do an updated book, I'll add fern. When I came home, I looked up the meaning of fern, and it definitely resonated to me. It was, about keeping your discretion, working your magic, and sincerity to others. So I'm like, wow, that's what
amazing.
I do in my business, and that symbol appeared. In my most recent one, I had a symbol on my back, and then I felt that wasn't really enough. Maybe I didn't contemplate it enough, and I went back to Nick, and I said, can we turn this into a lotus? Because I do feel my consciousness is expanding, and I think I want to empower the lotus. And he goes, let me go at it. And he did it, and he put this beautiful lotus on my back. And you know what? Like Damon said, when the symbol is right for you, you feel it. It's amazing. And for myself, my own personal experience, I started to have very lucid dreams, and things just started to unfold with me. And I think it's because, I had this in me, and the symbol just helps bring it forward, and it really connects me deeper into what I want to express in my life. So I'm very happy with my tattoos, and probably I have to find some more space. I'll get some more, and I'm sure at some point I want to get up to Canada and have a Daemon Rowanchilde tattoo. That's my goal.
Excellent. So what about you, Damon? How did you start? Have you got many tattoos, and where did yours start?
Well, I got my first tattoo when I was just turned 19, and since then I've accumulated quite a few, and a lot of them are in progress, partly because a lot of them I've done myself, so I've always got the time, to put it off and work on it another time. But it is a process for me as well, the experience of it. What else were you asking? It was just how.
What sort of tattoos have you got? What symbols and how did you decide which ones to have?
Well, I think at the very beginning there was a little bit of impulse, although I still had the symbolism was important to me. And the first one I got was a Pegasus, and a little teeny one, and it was so small it faded over time. And at the time, at that age, I found the Pegasus, the flight and the magic of it was really drawn, it drew me in quite a bit, and I read a lot of fantasy books. The second tattoo I got was the seagull, and that was because I had just moved away from home, and I went out west, and I was on the coast, and I was watching the seagulls, and I had just read Jonathan Livingston's Seagull, and it just seemed like the perfect thing. And it wasn't too long after I got that tattoo that someone, around that area came up to me and said, oh, look, you got a shithawk on your arm. And that kind of deflated. All at once, I was like, oh,
I love it.
But it still meant a lot to me. It still meant quite a lot to me, and it still does. But then as I grew, I became more aware of myself, and the life experiences deepened and heightened my what I was looking for in a symbol or in the meaning behind the tattoo. And then also my experience tattooing people developed, from their experiences, what depth there was involved and the potential, and eventually the awareness of sacred geometry and the effects from my own experience, the effects on people who wore it, and even people, if you just sit and draw a piece of sacred geometry, it has a certain effect on you. So I started becoming more aware of the vibrational aspect of the tattoo, and also being a tattoo artist and speaking to other tattoo artists and to people getting tattoos, how important it is for the tattoo artists themselves. They're, in a sense, a conduit of that energy that is moving through that person, into that person, the importance of being open and being loving, and setting up an environment in your studio that will best facilitate that experience. Because if the person getting the tattoo is tense, it doesn't matter what the tattoo is going to be. They're not going to be open to allowing that energy to move. So I started to just gradually build on my awareness over time and life experiences, and that also affected the tattoos that I wanted.
Right. That's amazing. So does where you have the tattoos affect the tattoos as well then? You're saying about the environment. So what about where you have them on yourself?
Oh, for sure. I always tell my clients, above all, go with your feeling. So there are definitely measurements and charts, and there's chakras, and you could use charts for Chinese medicine. There's a lot of charts out there, and they're good to research through and access, and choose an area you might want over your heart chakra. But ultimately, even once you've done all that, before you commit to it, I feel that it's really important to just sit with it and just feel, is this the right place to do it? Because some part within you might be saying, no, I really want this to be over here, over there. And I can give you, I'll just give you one example of a client's experience that has shown me that way back at the beginning of my career. And that was a young lady who wanted to get a tattoo on her sacrum. And she really felt that was very important, and it kind of wrapped a little bit around her hips. And while we were doing the tattoo, about the 4th hour into it, she broke into deep, sobbing, cathartic tears, and she sort of beckoned to me to give her a moment just to collect herself. She said, but it's in between the sobs, she said, it's not because of the pain, it's not because of the pain. And once she had calmed down and she had had a tea and relaxed, she said, I just got memories of sexual abuse from an uncle, and I didn't even remember I had that experience until right now. So if she hadn't gone with her feelings and felt that, that area that she wanted the tattoo, I believe that was her higher self or some deeper part of her consciousness that was directing her to get the tattoo there for the almost intuitive acupuncture soul work that she was doing on herself through me. And if she had listened to someone else or gone with some other idea, she might have missed that whole experience that opened up for her.
My word, that's amazing. That is amazing. And do you have that a lot? I'm not being funny, but how can I put this without being rude? There's a lot of tattooists that are in it for the money, and even how you're talking about the tattoo, you obviously are protective of your work and your beliefs and everything. But I feel so. There's obviously ones that go in and just go and have a tattoo done. But do you get a lot where people are literally opening up to you more because they know that you're into this?
Yes, definitely. People hear by word of mouth or checking out my reputation from some write-up or on my website. So definitely over the years, that reputation has brought more people of that kind to me. But I do find that even of the people that come to me and are aware, the ones who get the deepest experience of all, or I guess are sort of opened up to it, are the ones who have had some intense experience in their life, quite often traumatic, whether it's fighting cancer and they've come to celebrate the fact that they're clear of cancer, or whether it's been a death in the family or something. That experience has kind of cracked them open already, and they've come searching for the next stage. They tend to have the deepest and most profound experiences of all.
Right. Okay. So going with that, for instance, like I've lost a little one, and I've been saying for I will say years, because it was 1996 when I lost her, sorry, and I literally was on about doing, and I've been undecided. I've got this thing where I want to say about soft angel wings, right? So nothing sticking out, all smooth, if you like. But I was thinking about maybe trying to get somebody to do maybe her face, because I've actually got a picture of her, because she died when she was 2 days old, so I've got a picture of her face. But then I was undecided if that's just too, it almost feels like too much. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts on going with, like, if you've had a baby and you want to have a tattoo? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I myself wouldn't direct someone towards having the portrait, and only because, well, number one, portraits are difficult to do, and you have to get someone who really knows what they're doing to get that. But also, quite often, a portrait won't ultimately get across the energetic aspect of what you may want in the tattoo. So I always encourage people to put their ideas, in your case, the portrait with the wings, on the shelf, and then I would lead the person through a step-by-step just meditation and consideration of what it is that they're wanting to connect with. What is their experience that they had in your case of your child's death, your 2-day-old, and what did it create in you at that time? What did it invoke? What was the depth, your unique soul signature, if you want to call it, of that experience, aside from the trauma? But because I always find that there's the traumatic aspect, but then there's all the energy that comes through in that little crack, you might say, in the fabric of the universe. What is the goodness that's come through, and how can we capture that blessing that's come through in that crack in the tattoo?
Yeah. See, and this is the thing, everybody grieves different. Now, with me, everybody thought I was absolutely losing it because I lost my daughter, but they were actually looking for a part for a machine that was going to cost £2,000 at the time, and I went into an auto drive, and I suddenly wanted to raise money and pay for this. So to me, it was like, it almost gave me a jump start, but then I also know that it's helped me to help other people who have lost a child. So, and I see that I'm lucky, if you like, although was unlucky at the time, but now lucky because I've got a beautiful daughter that's now my angel watching over me. And that's why I think I've gone with this angel wings.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, and I'm not, let's put it, like a God believer, if you like. So I didn't want a big cross or all that thing. That just didn't feel right either. But every time I go to have it done, I put myself off it because it's, and you'll both laugh at this. Let's face it, you have a tattoo and it's pretty permanent. It's not like the permanent, because I know I could speak to you, Dame, and say, listen, just cover up this, mate. This was a disaster. Do you know what I mean? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But do you know what I mean? It's so, and I know, I think everybody else, you know, who does the ones that are for something, it's not something you're ever going to want to change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially when it's for a baby or it's a family member. It's not one of those tattoos you want to think, well, if it goes a little bit wrong, it's okay, I'll change it. Because I won't want to change it. Once it's done, that's for my little girl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think
so for me, it's a bit of all sorts.
Yeah. Well, I think also your hesitation might also be, consciously you're hesitating because you want to be careful about the commitment of what you're going to do. But it also could be that it's just not the right time, and your deeper consciousness is waiting to know both when and who is going to do it, because all of those things have something to do with the experience.
Oh, absolutely. Absolute. So Lisa, what do you think as far as, you know, when you want to do a celebration, if you like, for something or somebody that's passed, what have you, when you've done the book, what did you find? What did people say to you about how they've experienced that?
About memorial tattoos? Well, Damon had put me in touch with a client that he had tattooed who actually had her deceased husband's ashes mixed in, I believe, to the ink, and she symbolically wears this beautiful, beautiful design that Damon did. So what it is, if you wanted to do something for your daughter, you don't necessarily need the portrait or the wings. You see her as an angel. If you sit with it long enough too, you know, just something as a simple symbol or a beautiful design that is personal to you, and even the colors that you choose could represent this connection with your daughter. She could be realized more as just some type of energetic design that you feel is beautiful and you want to wear. It doesn't always have to be the obvious. Sometimes, because our consciousness speaks in symbols. So, you know, some people might look at it and say, that's a cool design. but you know consciously that resonates with your daughter, your experience, and how basically, even though that was a traumatic, horrible experience for you, it also opened you up to be a healer, you know? So it worked that way too. But a lot of people get memorial tattoos, and the one that Damon had submitted was the woman who had the ashes incorporated into her design. A lot of people, you know, they do go for the portraits. Some that I saw when I was researching the book. Sometimes it's a symbol or just a date. Whatever they feel, you know, links them into the person that they lost. I actually talked to somebody, I didn't put them in the book, but they had lost somebody, and this member of the family, they equated that to a favorite sports team. This person was a big baseball fanatic. So they had some baseball symbols put on, and that represented the person that they lost. So it is a very personal experience, just like everybody's consciousness is a very personal thing. But I think it's great because tattoos are very healing. They're more than just beautiful pictures. And like Damon said, when you approach it consciously, you have the whole experience. In the book, I said it's like, why buy a ticket to a show if you're not going to go? So if you're going to get a tattoo, the more you sort of prepare yourself and you take part in this ritual, you find that this tattoo is holding space on your body. It's a very special area. And where you put it on your body, you know, different parts of the body hold energy. So you may wake up some energy that's been blocked. Maybe it'll be a release for you to move these blocks along. In a sense, the way Reiki can move energy along, I think when tattooing is done from the right perspective, it also will start to release blocks. Just like when people get acupuncture, the needles open up the pathways to start to move things along. Well, even though the tattoo needles don't go in as far, they also open up pathways because pain is, you know, the awakening. It's the pathway to start to clear things out. And a lot of people I talked to who had tattoos said afterwards they sometimes felt very emotional afterwards. Like Damon had said, the one woman he was tattooing, it kind of opened up something that was blocked, and she was able to use that as a release and a healing. And I do find that some people, after they get off that endorphin high and the big rush of being excited they got the tattoo, sometimes they do go through this little bit of an emotional type of wavy thing, you know, like, wow, I did this, and it's very empowering to get the tattoo for yourself. It's like, It's hard to explain. It's an empowering thing because you've made a decision. You're comfortable enough with yourself to get the tattoo, and you're getting it because you want it, and it does not have any judgment. You know, it's like something inside of you wants to come out, or maybe there's something that you want to incorporate into yourself through a symbol. Because when you come right down to it, it's all symbols. Everything from the abstract to the obvious. Symbolically, this is how it's communicating with your consciousness. And even other people that see your tattoo, their consciousness is going to read this symbol before you even open your mouth and explain what it is. So like Damon said, it's important to really, like, you know, like even with the swastika, it is an ancient, you know, symbol that somehow got corrupted through the years. So you have to know what type of, you know, energy people are going to project at you when you wear something like that. So when you consciously make this decision, it's healing, it's empowering, and it really does put you through an awakening.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm fascinated. I mean, and then it's like with me. I went and got a tattoo done, and I got the letters of the kids' names on, and I did the worst thing ever. Yes, I went and put the first initial above my kids' names of my now ex. And I can hear everybody go, you stupid thing. You know, you do it, don't you? When you're younger, you do stuff things. Then I met my next boyfriend, and I changed it to an ex-boyfriend, right? So this was really like, okay, well, that's the change because you know what the boyfriends are like. No, don't like that. Anyway, then I split up with him, and now I'm with Chris, and it's quite funny because the top initial actually stands for Chris's son. So I'm not sure if they knew what was coming and thought, well, do you know what, you may as well change it because this is what's coming in the future anyway, or it was just damn lucky. But I've actually got the kids' initials. But I now feel, and then you two might be able to explain this to me, when I got it, I actually felt like it was quite significant, okay, because I've got my kids' initials, I've obviously got my partner at the time, but now obviously the kids, so I've got all my kids' as far as I'm concerned, all my kids' initials there, bar the one that I've lost because I want to do a separate tattoo for her. But now it doesn't feel like it's enough. It feels like it's lost in my arm. I don't know if that means I grew muscles or
well, you know what? It's like, as you've transformed and changed, maybe you look at that tattoo now and you feel like this needs to transform and change also.
Now, I've got it on my right arm, and let's face it, a lot of people, when they first have their first tattoos, it's usually on the arms because, I suppose, one, because they're a bit tougher, two, if you want to cover them up, you can. Do you know what I mean? Does that sound about right? And what does that part of the arm represent?
Well, in the book that with the research I did in speaking to body workers, people who do massage therapy and Reiki, on an energetic level, your arms and your hands are your connections to the external world. That also shows what you embrace, who and what you're holding on to, or what do you want to let go of. So it's the arms are significant in the language of energy. And, of course, I'm sure Damon will tell you, when you get a tattoo, we'd like to put it where the body holds its energy, but you also have to keep in mind the contours of your body. Is that design going to look good there? Because even though you may like the tattoo, if we put it on the wrong spot, you're not going to like it as much because you're going to think, oh, every time I move my arm, that tattoo doesn't look good. So you have to take a lot of things into consideration about what part of your body's calling for the tattoo. Will it fit there, or does the design have to be adjusted so it'll look good? What do you think, Damon? You're the expert on that end.
100%, Lisa, I agree with you. The challenge for a good tattoo artist is to be able to sit down with a client and listen and draw out the appropriate information, and then through the tattoo artist's eyes to be able to see all these levels and layers that Lisa's mentioning of to draw from the person what feels right, to get a sense of where their being needs that tattoo, and then how to apply it in a way where it's going to flow right. Considerations of the body's always in movement, it's aging, it's growing, how to do the tattoo. Even in one area to another, some areas can handle detail better in time than another area. And then, like I was saying, the movement, the flow, a body most of the time is in motion. So does the tattoo, if you're doing a tattoo on somewhere close to the wrist, if you put a dot somewhere on your wrist and then you move your arm back, like your wrist up and down, so you have your palm up to where your palm is down, that dot will move as your arm moves. Most people don't see that because they don't have a design on their skin. So everywhere that a tattoo might be, as you move, that tattoo changes shape, changes form, it stretches. So a good tattoo artist should be able to work between all these levels and layers of awareness of how it looks, how it resonates energetically, how the person's going to feel, how it's going to heal. All these things must be taken into consideration to basically for the person to leave feeling at one with the tattoo rather than a tattoo stuck on them.
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying. Do you know what? You know how random I am, Lisa, and you've got used to my banter now. Damon will have to catch up with me. But I just got this really funny vision, and maybe, Damon, you'll say, actually, I've done one of them. But you know when you're a kid and you roll your fingers up into like a fist, if you like, and then you put your thumb across and you can draw a face on your hand, and you could move it to talk.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Has anybody ever done anything like that? Because I just thought to myself, you saying about you move your arm in a certain way or you move your wrist. Well, when you do things, daft things like I did as a kid, right? Has anybody ever done something so it actually forms something because of where it is? Does that make sense?
Oh,
silence. No. Yeah. Okay.
Many people have.
I just randomly thought that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, many people have if it's something tongue-in-cheek, but usually the joke behind it only lives for a year or two, and then they sort of tire of it, and then they come back and say, okay, that was funny for a while. Now what can I do with it?
Yeah, especially your hands are always exposed to the elements, and they're always doing something, washing something, cleaning something. So that tattoo, that might be an ugly face after a while, constantly get a tattoo. But I think even tattoos like that, I had people say, well, what about people, some people get really these gorgeous designs. Some people, don't know what they want, so they'll just go into a shop and pick a flash design, something that's up on the wall. But I had asked one of the tattooists I interviewed, what about like the comical tattoos? What do you feel about them? And she said, I think they're okay. And she said, because that could be someone who just is very comfortable and they want to project their silly side. They're showing the world their silly side, so people know they have a sense of humor and that they're, a lot of fun. So it's also very reflective of, like I said before, the archetypes that are inside you. We all have these different archetypes. According to Jung, we all embody 12, and then there's different, cutoffs of them, and they span and span and span. But there's always one alpha that we carry around with us, and sometimes you may want to represent that through a tattoo. And if it's the silly, funny one, maybe that's the hand tattoo you're thinking about.
Yeah, it just, I just thought to myself, there's, I will admit to the fact, and I'm not going to put it on the Sue Show group, or I didn't think I did, but there was one where somebody had done a Bob the Builder one, and it said, can he fix it? And then it said a naughty word, and no, he couldn't. And we won't go into more of that. But it was so funny, and I thought, but wouldn't that run out of funniness? Do you know what I mean? And like, if you're doing like a cartoon, it might be good in the day, but then after so long, it would change. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Sue, I'm thinking about comedy when you're saying this, and I think for me, the best comedians, their comedy gets across a deeper message at the same time as being funny. So the comedy aspect is the delivery system for a truth or something profound. So I think if someone was getting something funny, if there was a depth to it, then it would last. If there wasn't depth to it, then it would sort of dry up and not have the same effect after a while.
Yes. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. So, Lisa, let's just bring you on for a minute just about Conscious Ink book. Conscious Ink book. How did you where did it all start?
It actually started a few years ago. I did a blog about birthmarks because I have a birthmark on my back, and I always wondered about it, and I'm a big fan of Dr. Ian Stevenson, who talks about birthmarks as certain birthmarks are a sign of past life. And then I know a lot of the Asian type of cultures believe that marks on the body, such as, moles and birthmarks, have meaning. So it got me thinking, what about the marks we willingly put on our body? What significance do they hold in our next lifetime? Are we going to remember putting pretty much, a symbol on ourselves as a mark? And it just got me thinking, and I started to wrap it around what I know about Reiki, what I know about body work, consciousness, and symbols. And I thought, wow, tattoos have been around forever. There seems to be a big millennial rush on the tattoos. They're more accepted now. When you go into a workplace, no one has to cover them up. You can show your tattoos and be proud of them, because even your boss probably has one now. So I thought, let's see if we can give a current spin onto this very ancient practice and bring it back to what it was really meant to do for people. It was healing, medicinal, connection to spirit, to the elements, empowering, a rite of passage. And every tattoo has in it the death and resurrection experience, which is something inside of you dies so something else can be born. So basically you're getting rid of that blank skin, and there's a rebirth of an image there. So what did you let go? What inhibition, or what did you resolve within yourself, or what do you want to bring out in yourself that this symbol is going to, weave into your consciousness and bring it out there for you to really experience it? Because I think we're all now, we're away from dogma, and we're more into spirituality, living our truth, being authentic, and we want to be in that awakened state. And I think this is a very profound way of being in touch with yourself, And that doesn't mean you have to go out and tattoo yourself head to toe. Sometimes it's just one tattoo could mean a lot to you, as much as 10 tattoos. So if you really take it back to its roots, it's very spiritual. The same with astrology and tarot, which over the years have been diluted and watered down into basically just for entertainment purposes only. But when you get to the root of it, you know that it's very deep, it's meaningful, and it's a form of self-empowerment, and also a way to put you in touch with yourself and help you, even grow and expand your own consciousness. And I think this is where tattooing is now. I think it went through the different growing phases, but I think it's coming back to what it was really meant to be. It's a very sacred, it's a blood ceremony, and just I know from all my Wicca days, whenever there's blood attracts spirit. So that's how come I feel it's important to know your tattooist, the environment, because this is a bond. This is somebody who's creating the art on your skin. The blood attracts spirits, so what's out there in the ether waves that may be attracted to your experience, your mindset, and that's why I tell people don't do it frivolously. Of course, there's some people who aren't aware, so it doesn't mean they're going to have a bad experience and have a bad spirit or whatever, but the more aware you are, the more powerful your experience and the more enriched you become because you understand what's going on. And I wanted to ask Damon. Damon, before you tattoo people, do you have any certain rituals that you go through, or do you only do that for certain occasions?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were referring to it. Yeah, I always set up, I cleanse my space ritually. I sort of banish any negativity, any potential of negativity. I invite in positive energy. And I also, I acknowledge, I'm very aware of, and I intend when I'm doing a tattoo that that tattoo, above and beyond that individual's personal reasons for being here, that tattoo also shares an energy with the collective whole, the collective consciousness. And even there's a connection between the person who just came to see me the day before, the energy that is, even though I've cleansed my room, there's some kind of I tell people that their tattoo is part of a larger tapestry. And that on some level, on a deeper consciousness level, we are all helping in this little, seemingly small experience of a tattoo, shift consciousness, shift energy. The state of the world right now, it seems kind of daunting, but I really believe that a lot of this energetic work that people are doing, and especially this is where the tattoo and the conscious tattoo comes in now, that Lisa's mentioning, is so important and imperative to the shift that we're making. And I'm sure most of the readers are quite aware and acknowledge how much of a kind of a straitjacket is on our true natural energetic selves, our true potential, for anything from bad diet to stress and noise pollution and many other things that are placed on us to keep us out of our full power and our full memory of who we are, including fake history and fake news and all kinds of stuff. So we're bombarded constantly from the moment we're born. And the tattoo experience, I really do believe in my heart, is a gift from the universe to us, and it's waiting to wake up. It's been very popular, but it's been in its infant stage, much more awake in ancient times. And now that the time where things really need to shift, it's starting to wake up. That consciousness is waking up within us and within our practices, and I really think there's a lot more going on under the surface than we realize with the tattoo experience.
Definitely. Did you want to ask something else, Lisa? Sorry.
Oh, no, I was listening to Damon. I agree because I just know from working in the metaphysical field, whenever you pierce the aura, and we all have that energetic body around us, although we don't physically see it, but we're aware of it when we're interacting with somebody. We can feel the energy if we either like that person or we like being in that room. Whenever you pierce the aura and put holes in the aura, you're letting something in as well as maybe releasing something, letting something out. So that's why in Chapter 1 I really stress that before you do anything, really know your tattooist. Like, who's going to take part in your very special, sacred ceremony? And I myself, you just don't want to go into some random shop. You don't know the person. They don't care what you want. You wind up getting a tattoo, and you may like it for a few days, and afterwards you look at it, and it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. So that's why it was called conscious ink. Like, make this a conscious decision, because I want people to realize there is a very strong spiritual effect to getting a tattoo. And I had one time I'd asked Damon, I said, did anybody ever get flipped in to a past life? I know people have memories, but and he had told me, yes, somebody did have that experience, so you never know what it's going to wake up. That was pretty cool, Damon. Do you want to talk about that? That was interesting.
Yeah, we are, on that note of it, we are much more than we really imagine or believe that we are. And in the cases with a tattoo or anything, we are it's a responsibility that we're taking on. And whether someone's aware of it or not, they're still taking on that responsibility. They are multi-layered, multi-dimensional beings. We all are. And when we're working with something so deep as a tattoo experience, the more we're able to open up and be our true selves in that experience to receive the energy of your tattoo experience. When something hurts, there's a little more discomfort in a certain area. If one is able to breathe into it, to release, as opposed to tense up, all of that is moving energy and shifting things and allowing. I believe that we're on multiple timelines. Quantum realities are moving through us. Reincarnation, death, and rebirth, I think, is kind of a very flattened, symbolic portrayal of it, but I believe that there are lifetimes moving through us every moment. So when we're getting tattooed, we can very easily tune into those and either bring something in from another quantum reality or potential lifetime that we don't want or that we do want. And so having that conscious awareness is very important, because it doesn't work just saying, oh, well, I didn't know any better. Energies work in their own ways. So the more you're able to, and that's hence another reason for the importance of the guidance of the tattoo artist, is to be aware of these things and to guide, sort of more like a midwife, to guide that person through their experience and to keep them safe and protected from potential that could go wrong energetically.
All of it's just amazing me, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to end up wanting to have a tattoo now, because it's like, I think lately, there's been, especially regarding this retrograde and everything, and Lisa, yourself, that over the last 3 years I've sort of refound myself, if you like, had to go through a lot, and I think sometimes, do you think that we need, it's almost like, how can I put it, like an energy booster? It's like as if, because I've been saying about having my daughter Kaylin's tattoo for quite some time, and do you think that you just get that feeling of that need almost?
I think you crossed the threshold, yeah, right? What do you think, Damon?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it'll speak to you.
No. Yeah, no. So, Damon, if I was going to go, like, I live in Blackpool, there's loads of tattoo artists about round here, but what would you say to me that I need to do to go into a tattooist, and what do I need to ask for, and what's the sort of questions that I need to go through?
Well, I would say first you ask them if they've taken the Daemon Rowanchilde course in. No, I'm just joking.
I like it.
I love that. Actually, if you do such a course, I'm quite happy for you to go and tell us about that in a moment as well.
Okay, I'll let you know about that for sure. But no, I would say that if you're able to, first do your research so you have some reason to believe that person might be the person that you want to have to do your tattoo. Then you move to the second stage, which is to meet them. If it is an open studio where people can come and go, you could just come and watch and observe and just kind of get a feel for that person. If it's a private studio like my one, then see if you could go with someone who already knows that they're going to that person and just sit in with them and get a feel. That's what a lot of people will do here is someone will say, oh, do you mind if I bring my friend? And then afterwards, for hours later, that friend says, oh, well, I'll just let you know I came because I just wanted to get a sense of whether you are the guy that I want to do my tattoo, but I didn't want to tell you ahead of time in case I choose not to. And you just kind of just vibe it out, get a feel for the person, and then, questions if you need to ask questions. But the ultimate level is the feeling. Like, do you really connect with this artist? Do they give you a weird vibe? Do they kind of maybe, but that's the deeper connection. And I always encourage people for anything, is to get better and better at relying on their feelings, because your feelings tell you so much more than most people realize. Even anxiety, that someone say, oh, I suffer from anxiety. Well, maybe that anxiety is actually your antennas, so to speak, telling you things. It's just that you've not listened to it for so long that it's backed up and become so intense it's now yelling at you. So I find the more you're able to trust your feelings with that artist, the better you're going to be.
Yeah, definitely.
What's interesting, Sue? Damon does a process of reconnected feeling after the tattoo. Right, Damon? Don't you go through that with some of your clients to realign their energy with their tattoo? That's good.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, there's so much
another
energy
reason
work.
for me to go to America.
Well, Damon's in Canada.
Oh, right. So if I've got to pick you up first, then go over to Canada, yeah?
Yeah, we got to come over and see you, one or the other.
Yeah, Sue, there's so much room to explore for the conscious and the tattoo artist that wants to take it to this next level, the experience. There's so much room for that tattoo artist to explore in energy healing and conscious awareness of themselves, of the client they're working with. Tattooing we've just scratched the surface at the moment, and there's so much further it can go, and I believe that it's going to go. And I do see that more and more people are becoming aware and more conscious of the potential of the tattoo experience, and I do believe that more tattoo artists are genuinely starting to become aware of this potential and want to learn more. And a lot of tattoo artists I've spoken to have said, well, I'm just starting to lose any interest in tattooing. And I said, well, maybe if you were to go in this direction, would you be more interested? Some of them no, and some of them yes. And that's how, you gravitate gradually towards what your true calling is. So some of them will drop off the bus, and some will continue on. But there's a message that they need something deeper in their career to satisfy them. And hopefully those tattoo artists will pursue it further and take some workshops or take my workshop or something, just to deepen their experience.
Yeah. Damon has a whole tattoo retreat.
Oh, really?
Isn't that so, Damon, where people come up and they get prepared?
Yeah, I have a tattoo retreat. It's like a bed and breakfast type of experience, wilderness retreat as well. And both for the person coming to get the tattoo, but I also have it set up for workshops for tattoo artists or budding tattoo artists. The first one we had last fall, where I brought Eric Rama from Denmark up, and he taught hand poke tattooing. And he went through the whole history of Viking. He's really into his Viking history, and he did a whole slideshow and presentation at the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto. And then all the artists met at my place, and we collected in a teepee, and we had ceremony down there, sat around and talked about our deep experiences and why we were there. And Eric led everyone through stages of tattooing by hand without a machine.
That sounds fascinating. do you know what? We're already trying to get Lisa to the UK. I don't mean to be funny, Lisa. I just think you found another passenger.
Well, yeah, because with tattooing, for the artist, when you give a healing, you receive a healing. So it works both ways. Yeah, I even find that what I do when I will give an intuitive reading using the tarot or someone's astrology chart. You know, I can tell if I'm making the connection with the client, and if I make a connection afterwards, I have a different feeling than if we don't really connect. So that's why it's important to really make sure you resonate with the artist, you know, their work. And Damon's right. You just get a feeling like that's the person I'm going to. You just know it.
Yeah. Now this is going to sound a bit daft, and I'm going back to my own experience at the minute. But at the moment, I've been watching a guy on Facebook at the moment. I'm going to give him a little mention, right, because he is one of these guys, Damon, that has been doing tattoos for a while, and he is proud of his place. I'll be honest, I've not even stepped in the place, or when I do, I will literally have to do a Facebook Live because I'm quite excited about going. But this guy has put so much work into his place. He's in Blackpool, and it's called Monsters, Inc. And just the outside, and he's done a few Facebook Live videos of inside as well, and I'll send you the links and let you have a look. But it makes you want to go. Do you know what I mean? He's done, like, you know, little pictures on the outside and stuff, you know, like almost like graffiti art, but not graffiti art, you know what I mean? Like proper pictures, and it's just amazing. Do you think that the outside has got to look the part for you going in, as never mind just the inside?
I think it. I would say that each artist might have their own flair. Definitely, whatever the experience that someone enters into, doorways are so important. I find, you know, a doorway that you walk through really shifts your consciousness into whatever you're entering into. Drawbridges in the past, you know, moats and stuff. It's whatever experience. I mean, if you were on an island and someone had to travel across to the island, that would be a profound experience going across that way. I always find that living so remotely as I do, people have to travel to get to me. That travel experience, almost like a pilgrimage, affects their state of mind when they get there. So definitely how you set up the outside of your environment, outside of your studio as a tattoo artist is going to have an effect as well, for sure.
Definitely. I will be honest, I've literally looked through your book, but I will be honest, Lisa, I need to sit and proper read from cover to cover. But I know Sean's obviously read it. I literally, the joy of me, I'm so tired recently. As soon as I start to read, that's it, I'm asleep. And it doesn't matter whose book it is, just before somebody says, that's a bit rude. Do you know what I mean? I'm more the one that listens to the radio or whatever, and I'll hear about stuff that way. But I'm just fascinated. Do you think that people are opening up more to not, you know, the book and everything? Do you think people are open up to the whole tattoo thing? Because it seems to be tattoos these last few years have just gone absolutely crazy all over the place. Everybody seems to have, like you said, you know, your boss will have a tattoo or, you know, and different people, even teachers and stuff, when years ago they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think you're allowed to express your authentic self now, and without judgment. And when I was researching for the book, it was hard to find research because most books are either history books or picture books. And I was trying to find a book that's going to pull in consciousness, symbolism, modern day thought. And that's how come I had to find somebody like Damon, so I could weave this together and make all this information very updated and current for today's lifestyle, which definitely embraces tattoos. I see more people now with tattoos than I ever have, and they're beautiful. And I have to stop myself because sometimes I want to go up and ask them about their experience. It's like, no, don't go there. That's not proper. But I just see them everywhere, you know. And the tattoos are beautiful. People have, you know, your traditional type of tattoos to watercolor art to dot work to sacred geometry, And it amazes me that, all this, creative energy is vital to our existence, because if you don't create, you don't change, you don't evolve, and if you don't evolve, you're going to die off. So I think this is a way of us just really embracing the creative side that we all have in us. Even if you can't draw or paint, you can still think. And, what you think, you wind up creating, and you start to project that out, and the law of attraction, you attract more to you. So that's why, think about that symbol and the whole experience, because that's going to change you on every level, of all the etheric levels. Everything's going to change and shift, and you want that to be a positive change and a positive shift. And I have talked to people who were going through a bad time, and they got a tattoo, and it wasn't so much to mark that bad time, like the part of their journey, but it was to let them realize that, hey, I experienced this, I still survived, and I'm just marking this as like a reminder that I can overcome things. A lot of people get the symbols for breast cancer, which was interesting. When I was doing the book, a group of women wanted to get the cancer ribbons tattooed in support of a friend who was going through cancer, but one woman didn't want to do it. And I wanted to know why, and she said because she was afraid that by wearing the ribbon, she would actually embody the thought and possibly create cancer in herself, which you have to respect that, because that's her truth, So the other women were probably disappointed she didn't go along, but she didn't do it to be rude. But she just knew that to her that symbol spoke differently than it did to the other women. So it's really, when you get that tattoo, think about what you're going to get, what you're going to embody, what it means to you, because that's what's going to give it that, spark of life within your consciousness, and that's going to grow and expand, and it's in next lifetime that memory is going to be there also.
Yes, yeah, absolutely fascinating. Well, I'll tell you what, if we just have a short break, and I know that we're going to have Nick on the phone in shortly as well. He'll be calling into the show. And also we want to have a look at the photos that have been sent to us from the listeners as well, because we've got a few photos to go through. So obviously we've added you all into the group, so we can have a look at these pictures, and maybe we can discuss where they are, what they are, and what you pick up from them.
Okay.
Is that okay? Okay, so we'll come back in just a few minutes. Anybody that wants to call in the show, maybe you've got a question you want to ask Lisa, Damon, or Nick, you can give us a call on 001 if you're outside. Start again. If you're in the UK, that's 646-787-1624. If you've got a photo you'd like to share with us, you can email asksueshow@gmail.com. So by all means, give us an email and we'll have a look at your photos. Also, please go to Ask Sue Show group on Facebook, and also Ask Sue Radio Show page, and we'll be putting the links up to Lisa, to Damon, and to Nick, and also to the show. So anybody who's missed the show wants to have a listen, it will be going on to YouTube after the show. You can go to the official Ask Sue on YouTube as well. So again, just if you want to call in to us shortly, that's 001-646-787-1624, and we'll be back in just a few moments. Hi, and welcome back to the Ask Sue Show. Hope everybody's all okay. What an absolutely amazing show we've got tonight, and an absolutely amazing guest to go with that as well. So let's welcome back on the show. We've got Lisa Barretta. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, and we've got Damon. Have we got Damon somewhere here? Hold on a minute.
Hello.
Hi, Damon, are you there? No, we seem to have lost Damon. Hold on 1 second. Hi, Damon?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Damon. You okay? Sorry. I tell you what, it's time for a new laptop.
Am I coming through
Welcome
better?
back to... Yes, that seems better. Much better for me.
Good.
Excellent. Lisa, while we're just coming back onto the show, would you want to give your website address and any connections you want to put on?
My website address is www.lisabarretta.com, and Barretta is Barre, E as in Edward, TT, A as in Apple.
Okay. And also you, Damon, where can they connect? Start again. Connect with you.
If they want to just check out my website and go through there, that's a possibility. And that's Urban Primitive is the company name. So www.urbanprimitive.com. Or they can go on Facebook and look up Daemon Rowanchilde Artist.
Excellent. Well, we'll be putting the links into the Ask Sue Show group for you and also on the page. And obviously they can connect with you there as well. So that's fantastic. Now I'm just waiting, hold on for Nick to call in. Let me just find. So what have you got coming up, Damon, at the moment? Just while we're waiting for Nick to come in.
Well, I'm working on a series of paintings right now, spirit animals, that I've just almost finished the third one, that I eventually want to do a card set. And I'm looking at getting a few different artists to teach workshops out of the studio here as well, which should be coming up this spring.
Right, excellent. Now, I've got just waiting for Nick to come in. So how did you meet Nick then, Lisa?
My daughter goes to karate, and some of her friends had gotten tattoos from Nick, and she had wanted to get a tattoo to commemorate getting her black belt. So she said, why don't you go with me? She said, because, well, first of all, my daughter, not that she didn't like tattoos, she just never wanted a tattoo. But she's an editor. That's what she does professionally. So when I was writing the book, I would flip it over to her, and I'd say, just check my spelling, my punctuation, and if anything has to be cleaned up, let me know, and I'll fix it. So she would, when she would get done at work, she would take my manuscript to Starbucks and sit there, and she would come home, and she would tell me what the corrections I had to make were. But after, I would say, partway through the third chapter, she said, I'm getting a tattoo. And I thought she was being funny. I said, what? She goes, I have to get a tattoo. She goes, I'm reading the book, Mom. She goes, I want a tattoo. So she said, I just got my black belt. And she goes, to her, that was a very important thing. It represented more than just the black belt. And she wanted to have a tattoo to mark crossing that threshold. So she found Nick through recommendation of her friends, and I went with her, and it was a great experience. The shop is really great. Nick is great. His work is impeccable. And I sat there and I watched her get her tattoo, and then I decided, you know what, I need another tattoo. If I wrote this book, I can't tell people I only have one tattoo on the back of my neck that my hair covers. I think I need another tattoo. So then I got a tattoo, But when I first went to Nick, for my tattoo, a brief conversation, and within maybe 60 seconds, I knew he was the right tattooist for me. I talked about he was going to be my ink shaman, and he goes, yeah, and he gets it, and he likes a lot of the same things I do, about ancient aliens, and he's a massage therapist, so he knows about the body, and he knows where things look good and where you should not put things, and it was a great experience. So, like Damon said, you get that vibe, because
yes.
I had walked in and out of other shops in the city, because on 4th Street in Philadelphia, it's all tattoo shops on South Street and around 4th and South. You like every other store is a tattoo shop. And originally I walked into the very first one I went into, which was maybe about 15 years ago. It didn't have the same vibe it had then. And I walked out. And I walked in and out of a few other ones, and I wasn't feeling it, and I was kind of disappointed because I wanted to feel it, but I wasn't. And then my daughter found Nick, and I walked into a shop, and I just felt the energy of the area. It's a little bit outside the city of Philadelphia, and it has a little bit of a historic vibe to it, so I just kind of got into the whole vortex of the environment.
Yeah. Well, I think his head's just grown somewhat. Nick, hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
I apologise for that error. I don't know if it's my laptop, but I think it needs a bit of it needs something, but I'm not sure it's a tattoo right now. So welcome to the show, Nick. Tell us about how you started with tattoos and about your studio and everything.
Well, I've always been an artist. It's always something that's been part of my life, whether I was getting in trouble for it or I was making friends and followers with it. They each had their own individual time in my experience. But I started tattooing around 8 to 9 years ago. It's just something that kind of came out of nowhere. I never thought that tattooing was necessarily an option for me. It was always just something other people did. And when it came in, it was at the right time. I mean, I had just had a daughter. There was a lot of changes. I had moved from Miami, Florida to Philadelphia, chasing after a girl, and it just everything kind of came into play right when it needed to come into play. I just continued doing it around the time where a couple of other people I knew started to get into it, and 8 years later, I've opened my shop 2 years ago with my partner, Benny Powell, and it took off. We're just having a great time meeting great people. It's a surreal experience every single day.
Excellent. So, obviously, Lisa approached you, and obviously you've done a tattoo on Lisa, and Lisa's done nothing but praise you. But how can you sort of resonate with the fact of, we've been talking to Damon about how he picks up on things, and are you as open, and what have you picked up from doing tattoos, and how has it changed everything for you, how things have been?
Well, I mean, it's definitely an experience. I mean, there's a grounding, there's a sense of kinship. I mean, it essentially is a blood ritual which opens up pathways to so much throughout the history of humanity. I mean, it was one of the first art forms, and when a stranger comes in and they chose you to be the one to change the way they were born forever, there's something really to be said about that. It's surreal. I mean, we go through this intimate time with someone we don't really know on a day-to-day basis, and it's one of the only industries where you can be so close to someone in such an intimate setting and spend hours touching their body and changing them. I mean, it really is just something that you can feel. I've always said that your energy is the first thing that people meet before they get to talk to you. And it's something that a lot of people will gravitate towards. I mean, obviously they want good art. They want it to be placed well and all that, but I think the experience overall makes it that much better. There's just a lot to it. There's a lot unspoken. There's a lot of just energy transference during the tattoo process, before, after. It's really something that transcends any other type of art form or the human experience, as it were, in the sense that we don't really get to interact with people on that level on a daily basis. And it's fantastic. It really is fantastic. It's something that I wouldn't trade for the world.
Lisa, can I firstly just say, you obviously connected me with these two lovely gentlemen, and just you can hear the passion within something. You know, you can talk to many people in the world and they have a profession, but it's so nice to have people that are so switched on and so caring about their own profession. And I've only spoken to you for, what, an hour and a half, do you know what I mean? And you, Nick, just slightly, it's lovely to hear. Lovely to hear.
Yeah, I think a lot of tattooists are somewhat misunderstood because so many people are used to the stereotypical tattoo shop, you know, because they've never really had it presented in a way that you're going somewhere, and like Nick said, you're going to be changed, and you're going to be changed on every level, just not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, your consciousness. And that's what the book was sort of about, to give people this enlightened perspective that, you know, to see this as, you know, what it really is. This is pretty deep, and you can see that both Damon and Nick are professionals, and they really get it, and they understand it, and the ancient roots of what tattooing really is.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any questions you want to ask, Lisa, to Nick?
When's your next opening?
For all of us.
I'm good.
We can. I think we're looking towards maybe the end of May, beginning of June, but we could talk about that off the air.
Yeah, after the retrograde.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, that's perfect. My birthday is the 25th of May. Subtle hint for all of you.
That worked out.
So Nick can tattoo one side and Damon can tattoo the other side, and we'll put it live on Facebook. So.
Hey, but listen, I don't mean to be funny. I knew there was a reason I was a big girl. It means I've got more to tattoo. Now, joking apart, that's a question. So I'm not a thin girl, not model material, but maybe for the bigger person, maybe. But does that make a difference in the tattoos? Because at this moment, I've just lost over a stone in weight, and I'm hoping to lose more. So if I went to have a tattoo, and then hopefully with any luck, and I'm crossing my fingers I say this, I've got to stop eating a hot cross bun, for instance. I don't want you to do a lovely, let's just say I was going to have a plane tattooed on my stomach. Let's just for the, you know, whatever picture I could think of. But let's just say a plane. I don't need to look like it had crashed when I've lost weight. How does it change according to your weight, and if you lose weight or you gain weight?
It does make a difference in the structure of the tattoo overall, but it only happens if there's a drastic change. Sure, you know, okay, so the tattoo ink never dries under the skin. It always stays fluid. If it dried, we'd be in constant pain every single day. But what happens is it moves, and your body's constantly fighting it, and it's going through its cycle and process. That's why there's certain parts of the body that aren't a good idea to get tattoos, like the side of your finger, anywhere where the palm of the hand would mix in with the skin on top of the hand, things like that. But in the sense of a drastic weight change, it may change a little bit as far as the structure of the line work and things like that, but it wouldn't be drastic, or it wouldn't turn an airplane into a plane crash, as you put it.
You two don't know my banter, and you'll realise how crazy I'm soon. But it was just, you know, when you just have that vision of like, oh, do you know what, I could have this really nice tattoo, and all of a sudden it just goes into this like, I'm not quite sure. Right. Maybe I'm more thinking about my actual body, not the actual tattoo.
Right. It's like a pirate ship that turns into a submarine after
No, in my case, it would. I think at this moment my body would turn into a submarine into a lovely ship. It's something you'd. At the moment, listen to me, I can honestly say it would be a submarine because I can't swim very well, and I would be going underneath, I can tell you. Oh, dear. Anyway, we'll move swiftly on, and thank God we can't see bikini weather or anything soon. Oh, dear, that made me giggle. Anyway, I've lost my trail of thought totally now. Lisa, any other questions you want to ask?
Oh, gosh, there's like A lot. I mean, both. I guess we already covered. Some people have that emotional type of release, I guess, after a tattoo, and I guess Damon has explained it. And Nick, did you ever have anybody that had some type of an emotional release during a tattoo or after?
I mean, anytime your body goes through a chemical change or there's a transference of energy, or, I mean, I'm sure we've all walked by someone in the street and they just intrigued us. There was something about them that just drew us to them or drew our eye to them at the very least. So there's just an innate reaction to what's going on. When I practiced massage therapy for years, I mean, people would cry on the table, they would laugh, they would go through just, you know, different emotions because you have a chemical release. I mean, dopamine, epinephrine, all these adrenalines and chemicals in your body, they're expendable. So once we get away from the physiological side of it, or the, you know, the body as a whole, once we expend our adrenaline to protect us from the pain that a tattoo inflicts, because it definitely does hurt, the level of hurt is what varies. But you go through whatever defenses or whatever reaction your body, yourself, needs to go through to create change. I always equate tattooing to someone walking over hot coals. You're riddled with anxiety beforehand, and not necessarily an anxiety that would be brought on by fear, but it's more so the what if, the permanence of it, and it's the experience as a whole. Once you walk over the hot coals and you see that you've made it, and you realize for that split second that you'll never be the same, a lot of that comes into play with tattooing as well. A lot of people say you get addicted to tattooing, and it's something that once you get one, you'll always go back and get another one. I feel like they get addicted more so to the sensation of conquering something that is not within their power. And it just means so much more to that person getting the tattoo to know that they did it. I mean, plenty of people laugh during the tattoo process. People have cried because the tattoo meant so much to them, even if the imagery was silly or it was something very serious. I mean, there's a deeper meaning, underlying meaning to it. And yeah, I mean, people just go through different experiences. Some people hate the process of getting a tattoo, but they love the result of it. And when it all comes down to it, it really is walking over the hot coals and making it, because now you know you're a better version of yourself the minute it's finished.
That's true. I myself personally felt like a shift. And you do feel like a sense of like self-empowerment because you're doing something for you, what you want. And I think that's important too when you get a tattoo. You should get it because you want it, not because your friend thinks it's going to look cool, your friend has one, so you both want to get the same one. You should really think about this. Is this for you? You know? I've interviewed people during the course of writing the book, and they want to get the matching tattoos because the friend got it and they want one too, which you might think that's cool at the moment, but wait, take it up a step, you know? Like the book wants everybody to have like the ultimate tattoo experience. Experience the high, the whole thing, you know. Maybe you'll be lucky and you'll be one of those people that gets flipped into a past life and have, you know, even a deeper experience than someone who just, you know, feels some type of, you know, I guess you could say validation of themselves, what's inside them, what they want. It should always be more for the person getting the tattoo. You know, they should want it and it should be meaningful to them.
Yeah.
So, Sue,
definitely.
when are you getting your tattoo?
Hey, do you know what? I'm already looking. I'll tell you what, we've got all three of you. Are you able to look at the tattoos in the group while you're on the phone? You know that we posted that people have sent to us.
I see them.
Yeah, can you see them at the moment, all of you? Lisa, can you see them?
It's the radio show group for guests, and I do see the photos. The roses, and then the tree, and then the arm tattoo. Yeah, I got it.
That's it. Well, what I'm thinking is, what we'll do is we'll work down them. Now, before I forget, because I'm going to get shot if I don't mention these people, because I know there's some people listening I need to give a shout-out to. Becky is one in Blackpool. She sends a picture in. We'll have a look at hers in a moment. And a big hello to David, Lee, and Leanne, definitely listening to the show. So thank you for joining us as well. Right. Damon, are you able to see the pictures?
I have your page up, which shows Lisa's photo right now, and then Conscious Ink, but I don't think I'm on the right page.
Right, it's the one. It's called Radio Show Group for Guests, and it says tattoo sent in so far in red with white letters.
I have like home, live, categories, search, login, one of those. That's all I.
No.
You know what? I think I can share it. Let me try to share the page with Damon.
Okay.
Share. I'm going to share it. Let me see. You talk to Nick while I figure out how to share it.
Yeah, Nick, can you see the pictures?
Yeah, I'm in them right now. It's in the comments.
Oh,
in the
brilliant,
red,
right. Okay, well, what I'm thinking is we'll go down individually each one, and then we can talk about them and see what you think about them and what you pick up from them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just shared it to your page, Damon. I think you might get that soon.
Yep. Damon, have you got it?
Not yet. On Messenger?
Right. Well,
I'm antiquated when it comes to computers. I just put share page, and then that came up. It says share on your timeline. I think I shared it on your timeline, Damon.
Oh, okay.
If you go through groups on Facebook, you should be able to find it under the groups, and then you can go. The very top is in red. If you go to comments, you'll see all the pictures.
Yep. I'll tell you what, Damon, I'll see if I can send it straight on Messenger, and then you'll get the link for the group.
Okay, perfect. That's perfect, yeah.
Is that okay? Right, Lisa, if we go to the one that's Becky from Blackpool, she's got the flowers on her back?
Yes. And in an energy sense, the back is where we store our unconscious emotions, the past life experiences, and tattoos here show what we need to feel supported. And I know roses were always a symbol of the goddess, and I see that Becky has the different colors, so the colors in themselves also give off a vibration. So I think the tattoo guys would be better to give you more than me. I just wrote the book. Yeah. I don't tattoo.
What do you make of the diamond between the two roses, Lisa?
Let me see. Let me blow that up a bit.
There's a blue diamond, there's a red rose, and a purple rose.
So you guys are good. You notice all the tattoo detail. I'm looking at how pretty those colors are too.
Right.
You know. Okay. Now I see it. Yeah. Oh wow. Yes. So yeah. Well, diamonds. There's a lot of geometry in that. What do you get on that, Nick? You're probably more an expert than I.
I mean, this is a timeless image. Roses have probably been one of the staples as far as tattoos are concerned since they came over into mainstream society around World War II, when everything started to change over, and a lot of the guys were coming back from war. And I mean, roses have just been one of those fundamental staple images that can and should be done well by almost every tattooer. And a diamond, I mean, that's how much pressure is needed to turn carbon into a diamond. It's a precious gem. It's there's so much tied into diamonds throughout history that it resonates with, longevity, beauty, strength. I mean, there's a lot in the imagery itself.
It's amazing in the fact that it's on our back where we store, things where we need to feel supported. And that's an excellent point you said about the diamonds are hard, and it shows somebody who's very resilient but yet still carries the beauty and the femininity of the rose, too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Damon,
are
you sorted? Have you found the pictures?
I'm still sort of jostling around here. I've found my way into what you sent me, but all I get is I've got tattoos sent in so far, looking for comments below, but that's probably the wrong page.
Oh, no, if you scroll down, you may see the photos.
That's it. Yeah, if you
right
click on that link there, and then it's literally in them comments.
Okay, click on which one?
It's got a red background with white writing, and it says, hold on a minute, tattoo sent in so far.
Yes. So
and
just
then
click on
click
that?
the comment, and you'll see it. Yes. And you'll see click in the comments.
Oh, yes. Okay. Wow. Awesome. Okay. So where are we? The rose?
The rose. You're up.
Hooray!
You're up. Your turn.
Yep. Yep. We're talking about the one, Becky, and she's got the roses on her back.
The 3 roses. Okay.
Yep.
So what would you like me to say here in that?
What do you pick up? What do you think?
Well, it's let me just look at it here a little closer. It's beautifully done. It's I'm a very I'm going to be I'll do a critique as an art teacher kind of thing. I would say to the artist that I feel that there needs to be a little more work done around the sides to integrate it more. It's sort of a very circular section, to me it looks like it's one stage of something that needs to be more integrated to the body, I would say.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So it would actually lend itself to a bit of a transformation then, right?
But a lovely start.
Yeah, definitely. Shall we move on to the next one? Because I know we've got quite a few. The next one is, I love this one, I will admit. Tina Rybell. It's on the outside left side. She's from London. And it's a tree, and it's got birds coming from it. I've never seen anything like that before. I like that.
That's awesome.
What's your thinking, Lisa?
Well, trees to me show immortality, eternity, knowledge, wisdom, strength, protection. And looking at the birds, the fact that there seems to be both bluebirds of happiness and maybe some red cardinals, which are usually people that have passed that are in the spirit world. So the opening there to me shows, how the ebb and flow of life, happiness, consciousness, what comes in and out, and then I definitely see that strength in the tree.
Yeah, I think I like that. What about you, Nick?
I take away the same from it. This is an image that's been around for a while. This is actually an image of the tree of life. It's used in representations of family trees. You can see how strong the root system is personified in the image. The circle that's made around it is the continuation of life and existence, and the circle of life, as it were, to quote the Lion King. And the birds are that transcendence. To me, in my eye, you can see a transcendence from the circle of life, from being rooted and changing as we transcend.
Right.
That's what I take away from it. I can see a lot more going on with it if you were to break into it. There's some technical things that need to be done to maybe spruce it up, no pun intended, but other than that, it's a pretty solid tattoo.
Yep. Damon?
It's like Nick was saying, it fits into a very standard symbolic tree of life type of representation. It's something that we've both seen around, quite a lot of variations of that. Now I'm looking close, and I can't say for sure if there's other little symbols hidden in the tree or not, but definitely very, very clear the idea of the transcendence, something breaking out of the circle and moving beyond the limitations of that circle. Maybe that circle is almost like an egg or something, and that egg's broken open.
Yeah. I like that. That's nice.
You could also look at the circle as possibly a confinement, like the roots are bound or held within that circle, so there's that freedom as that shell is broken.
Right, yeah. Right, let's move on to the next one, because I know that we've got a few, and I don't want to, if we can help it, miss anybody out. We've got Lee from Hampshire as Aztec Design with a dragon which covers up the top right arm and shoulder. What do you think of that one, Lisa?
Well, these guys are probably more expert on this than I am, because I know that in different cultures the dragon can mean different things. So they probably know what this is. An Aztec, is it, dragon? So Damon or Nick probably know more what the dragon in the Aztec culture means. But I see dragons as a form of transformation, depending on if it's a water dragon or a fire dragon. But that's so interesting, just the way that it flows and the way the dragon is put in, and covering that on the top of his arm and his shoulder is showing, we get strength from the top of the arm, so almost embodying the strength of the dragon and the ability to, transform.
Yeah.
Like I said, these guys totally know, and the color red is very powerful too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to jump in and say that it's not Aztec by any means. The dragon is more of an Oriental style, modified with a little bit of a tribal skeletal feel. And the external area around the dragon is, I would say, more Borneo influenced, although contemporary twist on it. And I don't know what Nick thinks of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It definitely has a lot of Polynesian or Maori feel to it. I know the dragons are predominantly Asian when it comes to tattoo styles, but I know that there's a version of dragons or serpents that can be found on almost every continent on the planet throughout history. It's a strong tattoo. I know it could definitely use some work. Maybe it's unfinished, and they just wanted to give chime in and kind of show where they are in the progress of it. But a lot of those designs and the images that are bound by the swirls and kind of rooted into the tattoo itself, each one of those individually has its own meaning. A lot of the Polynesian work has woven material or fortress built in or shark's teeth or representations of animals, and these are all used throughout history to depict or to show what the family's lineage is, or what the individual wearer, his or her role is in the community or their family, and this is more so. I don't really see too much Aztec here, but it definitely does give out a Bornean or a Polynesian feel to me.
Mm-hmm. Another thing with
right.
it, I'm sure Nick will agree, the dragon was done first, and then the other work was done afterwards.
Absolutely.
Right.
And definitely looks like it is at the background looks like it's at the first stage of development. So I'm sure there is more to be done. And if there isn't more to be done, I'm sure Nick or I both could see lots of room for embellishment or development of that design in the background. It's not at a stage where there's nowhere to go. There's a lot of dimension and depth that can be brought into that quite easily if the person isn't continuing it, if they ever choose to. As long as they go to someone that really knows that kind of work, they can really develop that arm piece much further.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's go on to the next one. Obviously, quite a personal one. We've got the granddad, and this is Louise Mustard. She has Nana tattooed above her right breast. This is her knee. No contact. Oh, right, I see. Apparently that's her knee. I'll be honest, I thought that was her foot. even though it actually says on the thing this is her knee. So we'll go with that. This is Louise Mustard. What's your thoughts, Lisa?
Well, the legs are where we usually ground ourselves, and the knee is, a very flexible part of the leg where we, it's how we have our strength, where we stand up. I know for a fact that feathers represent air, which is associated with the power of the mind. Also, it's very symbolic of the breath of life. And also, a lot of people use feathers when they want to represent somebody maybe who has passed over, and they want to see him as that air element more in consciousness. Let's see what these guys think.
Apparently, I was right. It is her foot, just for the record.
It's the foot. Well, the I could see the foot, right? That's the shoe, and that's the foot. And the foot, they're very grounding. It's where we find our stability. It helps us, stay grounded. So there's a deep message in there for Granddad. He must have been a strong influence.
Yeah. Definitely. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, it's Lisa pretty much covered all of everything I could have possibly said about a feather tattoo. It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, when you see it, it gives you the sense that Granddad is either past or he's been a big influence in this person's life. The placement definitely plays a role in it. I mean, that's Lisa got it on the head. She nailed it.
Well done, Damon?
Well, it's kind of interesting how when you get a very close-up, cut, cropped image of a body part, how difficult it is to be sure where it is. Because to me, when I look at it, it looks like a hip. And you can see the hip bone and the light hitting the side of the hip, and you can see the back, sort of the spine area curving the back. It's very, slim build. So it's so hard to tell what part of the body, but it could easily be on a hip there too. It's just funny. But yeah, it's whatever part of the body, it flows nicely. Granddad is definitely someone very important to that person. I would say that to them the feather has an element of light and transcendence and buoyancy and lightness, beyond the physicality, the limitations of the physical.
Yeah. Right, shall we move on to the next one? Hold on a minute, I'm just going a bit too far, I can't read. Right, Sylviana from London sent this is her right wrist, and she's actually a friend of Sean's and a Scorpio with Aries rising and Aries moon. And obviously, anybody, just for the record, we are doing a competition as well, so we'll come to that shortly. Lisa?
Okay, well, being a Scorpio, I could see that. That looks like that may be what the evil eye design, the eye. So the fact that it's on the underside of the wrist and it would be Scorpios have a way of penetrating into the unknown. They see everything. Even when you don't think they're seeing things, they can see what's going on. So most likely this symbol really resonated with her Scorpio sun. And the stars around it, I guess, would be more symbolic of kind of bringing that in, expressing maybe her connection to her zodiac sign, and just instead of doing a Scorpio symbol or with an Aries kind of interwoven, she looks like she chose to use the stars to reflect the cosmos. But that's definitely for a Scorpio, because they have eyes behind the back of their head, let alone the inside of their wrist. They see everything.
Yeah.
Right, Damon? Damon's a Scorpio.
What do you think, Nick?
I mean, there's a lot that goes into the imagery itself. Overall, stars are one of those things that you have to take time to actually get really good at, as far as from a tattooer's perspective. The placement of it is well designed. Normally, if you get something on your wrist, you want to stay. If you bend your palm towards you, looking at your palm, with the wrinkles that are created on the lower part of your wrist where it joints with the hand, you normally want to stay away from those, because the tattoo doesn't really heal up too well in that location because of the turnover of skin cells. But as far as the image itself, I mean, an eye goes back, way back, to when humans first got eyes. It's used in Egypt. I mean, it's used throughout, everyone's used eyes in their imagery and art throughout time. I don't know if there's a significance there with the number of stars, 7 being a specific number. There's a lot that goes with the number 7 as far as, ways to go about things, luck and things like that. Overall, I think it's maybe not the best picture because I want to see a little bit of detail. I think I can make out some eyelashes going on there and things like that, but I think it's a cool little tattoo in a neat spot.
Yeah. Right, we're going to have to zoom through these others. So, Damon, what do you think?
Well, I think Lisa and Nick pretty well covered it. Definitely the fact that it's a little bit down from the wrist was a good choice. Gives a little bit of space there from wrinkles and rejuvenation and stuff. But I'm guessing it's a tattoo. It's so hard to tell these days, but I'm guessing it's a tattoo that was done a while back. And I have no idea if that person has more tattoos after. It looks like someone's first tattoo that they will eventually have, expanded outwards and got more larger, further developed pieces. This would be like my Pegasus, their first tattoo, is my guess.
Right, okie doke. Right, now I've actually got two. They were sent from Dave from Portsmouth. Right, I've gone too far again. Hold on. One is on his left bicep, Bruce Lee, and then we've also got one on his right bicep, which is American Indian. What do we think of those?
Okay, so on the arms is where we kind of relate to our strength, So it looks like he derives a lot of strength from maybe the archetypes that Bruce Lee represent, kind of like the warrior, the fighter. And then the Indian tattoo would probably be presenting that archetype who is more, even though Indians are sometimes seen as warriors or fighters, actually they were very in tune with nature. They knew the forces of nature and how to, they honored them and they respected them. So it's how to use force in maybe I guess you could say kind of like a higher way. And the same thing, Bruce Lee, he represents how he did karate. It was more like a mindset. His consciousness brought him through. So it's somebody who wants to, I feel, embrace the force of life from just not the material, physical level, but also pull in like that higher spiritual realm where you really can get things done.
Yeah. They're different, aren't they? I like them. What about you, Nick?
I like these images. I am a fan of both of these images. Bruce Lee is, for lack of a better phrase, the man when it comes to martial arts. He created and developed his own martial art, Jeet Kune Do, utilizing a ton of martial arts that he already had in place. The image is strong. I would say that it could use a little bit more contrast, maybe just a little freshening up, and it can be, just as it probably was when it was done. It's probably a few years old now. But it's a great image of Bruce Lee. I mean, if you see it in posters, you see it in popular culture. I mean, it's one of those scenes where he's taking a beating, but he's still fighting. So it resonates with anyone who's going through any type of turmoil or at the regular trials and tribulations of life. That could be something he could look onto for strength. And the Native American image is just as strong, and it's actually tearing out from the skin, which is always fun when you get to do that. And it shows a lot. There's a war cry. He's got his, I don't quite see what he's holding up or what he has up in the air, but I mean, there's a lot of strength in that image as well. I mean, these tattoos are exuding strength and force, security. Yeah.
Damon, do you mind if we go straight on to the next picture? Because we're running out of time slowly and very quickly. We've actually got Leanne from Hampshire. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Damon, do you want to take that one?
So this is the...
like a symbol?
The symbol?
Yeah, the symbol, Leanne from Hampshire.
Okay,
this is on his stomach, apparently.
Well, it's. Does it say what the symbol means on this one? Is it?
No, it doesn't. No.
No. Well, it's not a lot I could say. It's as far as the execution of it. It's kind of hard to say with the photo as well. It could be a little bit blurry from the photo or a bit blurry from the tattoo. If it is the tattoo, it's something that's very easily cleaned up, reworked and stuff to crisp it up. One of the things I can say, though, with Chinese symbols that a lot of clients have come up with over time, they were very popular for a while, and a lot of people started getting confused with for sure what they meant, and quite often we're finding that they had, they'd go down to Chinatown and someone say, oh, that means something different. So, definitely anyone getting Chinese symbols, make sure that they mean what they mean before they get them. Is one thing, and probably cross-check with a few different sources beforehand. You don't want to find out it means kick me or something after that.
Yes.
Sometimes it could just be a mistake, and other times someone could be having a joke on you and sort of laughing after you leave, saying, oh, my God, wait till they find out what that means. So not knowing what the symbol is, it's hard to comment on that aspect, and we don't really know where on the body it is because it's so close. But I would say, therefore, I could just comment on the, like a critique on the work, and it could definitely use a little crisping up, and that which all tattoos at some point can use.
Yeah. Right, we'll move on to the next one. Gina Clark. This is quite an interesting one for me. What do you think, Lisa?
Yeah, the colors are very bright, so I would think that she probably has like a brighter personality. But it's interesting. To me, it looks like it's wearable art, and I'm sure the symbols must have meant something very personal to her. The circle, the square, maybe fitting in, but the colors show something more like a brighter personality. What do you guys think?
Damon, you want to take this one?
Sure. Definitely interesting color combination. I'm trying to look really close. I see little lines coming out, control piece or something. I'm just what could that have been?
Yeah.
It looks like little veins or little tendrils coming out from a little circle or something. It's always interesting to try and figure out what was underneath. But as far as the cover-up, it's pretty well done the job. The lines are a teeny little bit wobbly if you want to get really critical from an artist's perspective. I think it's on a wrist. No, not a wrist, some part of the arm, so I can see the hand holding the skin tight. It clearly is some kind of symbol that means something very much to that person, for sure.
Yeah. Is that a cover-up tattoo, or?
It looks
I would say.
I mean, can you tell if it is, or?
Yeah, I would. Nick, like Nick mentioned, I'm pretty sure it is. You can see little lines.
I'm sorry to cut you guys short, and I apologise to Gina Clark and Isabella Angela Burns. We've actually come to the end of the show. I can't believe I've literally got about a minute left. But I was so fascinated by listening to it, I wanted to keep you going. So, but I want to thank all three of you for coming on to a fantastic show. And I'd love to get you all back on. And maybe we could do a Facebook Live, Nick and Damon. And we'll get people to have a look at your actual at the studio as well.
Absolutely.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, thank you all for joining the show. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you to Lisa Barretta. Thank you to Damon Goodchild. And thank you also to Nick Santiago. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
bye.
and thank you very much to everybody who's been listening to the show. An absolute brilliant show. Please join me at AskSue Radio Show on Facebook. Give me an email, asksueshow@gmail.com, and come and join me on Facebook. We'll be having another show very, very soon. And please don't forget to have a look on YouTube, Sue. Thank you very much for joining the show. Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.